Intelligence Officer 241, report in.
Day 150, object just went active. Running all scans. It remains in stable orbit around system primary. But I'm getting anomalous readings.
A new expansion is on the horizon yet again. Previously it was Federations, now it's time for Nemesis. Now the name Nemesis is not necessarily one I would use. I have some bad connotations with that name when it comes to sci-fi, but hey, here we are. Still though, Nemesis has a lot of interesting things going forward in the near future. We've talked about the spy systems already. We'll dive a little bit deeper into that over the next few days, but also the first contact protocols and a bunch of new events. But one of the bigger things that is coming is becoming the Crisis, and that's why I can use this clip again.
I am the final crisis.
Yes, you can in fact become the Crisis in Nemesis, and it's done in a rather interesting way. Once again, it is done through the wonderful world of Ascension perks, that beautiful system that was introduced back in Utopia. Now, you will need 2 pre-unlocked Ascension perks before you can get to this one. It is, of course, become the Crisis. Now, unlike some of the other dangerous things in the game, it's not labeled as red, but its own new ominous color. It is the color purple. The color purple from outer space. Who knows? Maybe it's a Lovecraft reference, but who knows? But yeah, it's a rather curious one because, you know, you cannot be xenophile, you cannot be pacifist, you cannot be a rogue servitor in order to take up on this little journey, which makes perfect sense because becoming the Crisis comes with all sorts of very fun bells and whistles that are not necessarily associated with xenophiles, pacifists, and rogue servitors, as you may have seen in the trailer. Yes, that did look like a star blowing up. So yeah, the color purple, very interesting. Now, it could be in multiplayer that everybody can pick this, but the AI will not be as likely. There will be weights attached to that sort of thing, so they won't dive into that all that much. But it's really cool to see that there is more content coming to the mid-game within Stellaris, because unlocking your second Ascension perk is definitely, or at least your third one, is attached to the mid-game. You don't really get to all of that stuff like archaeology projects, Voidborn, gigastructures, or megastructures. I've been playing too much gigastructures recently to, unlocking, becoming the Crisis. That's a lot earlier. So it's really a journey, a path you have to undertake here. And the quote, it says here, all great achievements require sacrifice. The rest of the galaxy may not understand, but they will have to comply. You will then progress towards becoming the Crisis, because at the start of becoming said Crisis, you're not actually the Crisis just yet. You need to work your way towards it, and it unlocks a brand new tab under the Traditions tree called the Crisis. It's part of Traditions, Relics, and now the Crisis, of course, and it is this very purple screen. I could really like the color code here. It's nothing like anything else that is in the game in terms of its presentation. I really like the UI as well as the iconography that is used here, and I'm sure that a lot of modders are gonna run away with this system by adding more and more stuff. But in order to become the Crisis, you will need to jump through a couple of hoops. And basically, you need to do quote-unquote evil deeds. Now, as everybody knows, one man's evil deed is another man's freedom fighter, to mangle the expression. But still, though, you can unlock a brand new resource called Menace. Now, Menace is, I don't want to say it's similar to like Unity or Influence, but it kind of sort of is. You kind of need to be proactive about it to generate it rather than building a building and watch it tick up. It's nothing like the systems that are, for instance, in EU4, like the ruler mana, basically. This is a proactive system, so your decisions directly impact the amount of this Menace resource that you get, which I think is really cool. It's a system where you will have to do these things in in order to get the resources involved. I think that is really, really fun. You can have your objectives as well as your effects, and what it boils down to is that you will need to go through 5 levels of crisis. Every single level you will get to be more and more dangerous. You can unlock certain features, and we'll go into those features a little bit further on. But for instance, you can get Menace points by destroying an empire. It gives you 100 points. You think you'd be getting more, but hey, here we are. Destroying enemy ships, 3 Menace, that's not too bad. Destroying a starbase, purge some pops, whether or not it's by pop or per pop, or it is a group of pops, who knows, but you will get 3 Menace points for every single time you do something like that. So let's get ready to start purging some pops. Definitely interesting for robot empires or like forced labor and stuff like that, because you will be able to generate quite a lot of resources and really run away with things. I would really, really want to see how being the Galactic Crisis would work with a one planet challenge approach like we've done in the past. I don't actually know whether or not the Utopian Abundance exploit still works, but hey, we can test it out once we get there. Destroying worlds will garner you 100 Menace. That's not as much. Conquering worlds will get you 150, but then again, if you conquer a world, you can also enslave people and purge them, etc., etc., etc. So there are, knock-on effects to these sort of things. Vassalize an empire, get 100 Menace. Retain your vassals, probably over a longer period of time, like an X amount of years, you will get 10 Menace. Perform disruptive operations. Disruptive operations is something we're going to be talking about in the next few days. Those are the special spy operations that you can perform if you have enough intelligence or your spy network is set up wide enough over an enemy empire. And you can be very, very disruptive. Assassinations, rebellions, give firepower to local pirates, that sort of thing. So there's quite a lot of cool stuff there. And one of them that I just ignored in that sentence is putting a crisis beacon in an enemy empire. So that the crisis, if it unlocks, your Praetorian, your Unbidden, etc., will just make a beeline towards that system. Very fun. And finally, if you're in breach of galactic community law, not only will they be sending you a very, very angry letter, you will also gain 50 Menace. So yeah, over time you'll be able to rack up quite a lot of points here, and it really sets you into a role of being the antagonist within the galaxy at large, which I think is really cool. It makes you the bad guy, and as any actor will tell you, playing the bad guy is so much more fun than the good guy. But still, though, there is a whole bunch of things that you need to be doing. As soon as you've unlocked a level of Menace, you can go towards the next level, you'll need to unlock a secret project. So there's, for instance, this one event here referred to as the Great Prospect, and they're talking about the Shroud, etc. You will be progressing through the various steps of being the Crisis, which I think is fun. It gives you a goal to work towards, and especially in the mid-game, that is really missing. So that's something that I really, really like, and I do hope that we're going to see more than this in the future, rather than just being the bad guy. Then there's perks. Every single time you unlock a level, you get perks from it as well. As we saw on the list earlier on, there's quite a bunch of them. I think there's 15 in total, and we got a couple of examples here. The Undertaker. Purge is unlocked as a policy option. So no matter who you are, you can purge. So if you're egalitarian, all of a sudden you can do that purging, and you can do it quite rapidly at plus 500%. You can also unlock the Menacing Corvette, which is a special type of Corvette that only costs minerals. So yeah, we haven't seen ships costing minerals since Le Guin. That's quite a while ago. 2.0, that is forever ago. This was before alloys were introduced. Being able to build a ton of Corvettes very quickly using only minerals is really, really good. You will unlock it relatively early on in the game, but it does really put the pressure off of your economy when it comes to alloys, and it makes you more powerful in the long run. Now, there's a bunch of ships involved here. The Menacing Corvette, the Menacing Destroyer, the Asteroid Cruiser. I think that is amazing. For those of you who've been watching The Expanse recently, you will know what I'll be talking about. And finally, a brand new structure or spaceship called the Star Eater. So for all of those of you who like the Star Wars Expanded Universe, or better known as the Legends canon, you will know what the Star Crusher is. I think you know where this is heading. Anyway, once you've reached the existential crisis level, the final level, you will be able to threaten the actual existence of the galaxy at large. But the real question is, how does one threaten the existence of an entire galaxy? Thank you for asking that, dear person that I just made up in my mind. Once you get to that particular level, you will get a frame within your home system. Think kind of like the Dyson Sphere frame. Hopefully it's not hilariously offset like the Dyson Sphere frame, because that would kind of take all the humor out of it. But regardless, this is a brand new megastructure kind of building called the aethrophasic engine. Or aethrophasic engine. They could have not have picked a more difficult to pronounce name, and I'm pretty sure one of the script writers or designers out there basically created this name to take the piss out of all the creators, who are all going to horribly butcher this particular name. Regardless of all of that, in order to upgrade this particular device, yes, you can upgrade it, and you can max it out, and once you've maxed it out, something will happen, apparently. The devs have not gone into detail about what that is. Yeah, you need to use dark matter in order to upgrade it. Now, the very first stage costs 20,000 dark matter. So let's hope that you will get the dark matter portal in one of your planets early on. Otherwise, you're going to be running into some problems. Thankfully, the developers have managed to set up a couple of very interesting things here. Remember those Star Eaters that we talked about earlier? Yeah, they are back, and they can be used to upgrade your supply of dark matter. How do they do it? Well, as the name already implies, they are definitely not going to go and tickle these stars. No, they are going to eat them, because apparently stars and Stellaris are the main resource of dark matter, whereas normally in the game you would find it at black holes and such. I actually just realized they may turn the stars into black holes, but sure. Basically, you go ahead and eat the stars, and that's probably what we saw in the trailer just now as well, with the operative that looked suspiciously like a character from Mass Effect. Got probably eaten by a said Star Eater. But yeah, you can have, apparently you can have a bunch of them at the start of the game. You only have 2, but you can build more, and you'll need a fairly large amount of dark matter to build more of them. But once that time is there, you can go and send them out and eat some stars. Let's hope that everything goes well, because, well, maybe binary systems would be cool, actually, just to eat all the resources in there. Star Eaters, they eat stars. But yeah, your new goal as the crisis is to gather as much dark matter as possible, because you want to upgrade your aethrophasic engine. And apparently, if you succeed, everybody loses. So what does that imply? An actual end game? That'd be nice for once, so the game doesn't end there. But still, the Galactic community will also get their own tools to try to stop you, which is something we'll dive into on the next Death Diary. At least a Death Diary that is going to be on the forums the next time that we're going to be speaking about any of the updates. We're going to be talking about the operations within the spy system, which you people so nicely voted for on the community tab. Still, though, it's curious to see all of this stuff. I'm really curious on where all this stuff is going to go. I find this a very interesting approach, and I also think the idea of the Galactic community having the ability to stop you is also really, really cool. And maybe there will be a whole bunch of interesting features there that will be unlocked for you to be stopped. Because let's be honest here, reading this, especially with the mineral corvettes as well as the destroyers, you are going to be nigh unstoppable very early on, and you're always being steamrolling. And whilst I do enjoy a good old power fantasy, that may seem to be a slightly overpowered thing. But then again, if the AI does it, then it becomes a good challenge. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be a mod out almost instantly that will allow the AI to become the crisis as well. Multiple ones, even. From what I understand is the actual other crises, whether or not it's the Praetorian or the Unbidden or the Ghost Signal, they're still in here. So that's good. So you can go ahead and find those. And that effectively makes this the 6th Crisis, let's count them out here. We got the Con, which is the mid-game crisis. We've got the Grey Tempest. It's a second mid-game. That's a second mid-game crisis. The 3 end mid-game crises, and then finally the end for the Shroud. So yeah, there's now a bunch of additional crises in the game for you to play around with. So is this something for you that you would like? Something that you would like to see? Well, feel free to leave a comment below if there's anything that you're like, hey man, that sounds pretty awesome. Yeah, give it a like as well, because that's why we're here. It's all about that there interaction. I want to thank my patrons for making today's video possible. This one is going to be absolutely batshit insane, and I'm really looking forward to it. In the meantime, though, thank you so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons, and until next time, take good care of yourselves, and make sure that you watch these other videos that I've been doing about the spy system. Until next time, take good care of yourselves, and eat some stars.